Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Anton, and yeah, so you guys voted for Matchbox 20 to be one of our artists of the week. Also, you guys voted on 2000s alternative rock to be our theme of the week. So yeah, we're doing Matchbox 20, one of my all-time favorite bands on the channel. Literally, probably top 3. Honestly, like, they might be top 2. Not gonna lie, like, I just adore Matchbox 20. Top 2 or top 3 on the channel for sure. Love these guys to death. But anyway, I'm excited. I know you're excited. So sit back, relax, and let's get straight into Matchbox 20. Bent. Ooh. Great drumming right here and guitar. Like, already, this has a completely different sound to the first album we reviewed, which I did a full album reaction. So if you want to check that out, join everybody in the Patreon for $10. But yeah, already this just has such a more theatrical, dramatic vibe. Like, this feels more like a creation, where that first album felt like a very spur of the moment, emotional, cathartic series of songs. This definitely feels more like kind of movie soundtrack, bigger sounds, more archetypal in some sense. Yeah, it just has a bigger sound to it. Yeah, I love that guitar. Love this stuff in the back too.
If I fall a long way, pick me up and dust me off.
Yeah, great production.
And if I get too tired to make it, be my breath so I can walk. And if I need some other love, then you give me more than I can stand. When my smile gets old and faded,
they're phenomenal musicians.
Wait around, I'll smile again. Shouldn't be so complicated. Just hold me and then, or just hold me again. Can you help me? I'm bent. I'm so scared that I'll never get put back together. Keep breaking me in, and this is how we really end, with you and me. If I couldn't sleep, could you sleep?
Such a dense song musically.
Could you paint me better off? Could you sympathize with my needs? I know you think I need a lot. I started out clean, but I'm jaded. Just falling in, or just breaking my skin. Can you help me? I'm bent. I'm so scared that I'll never get put back together. Keep breaking me in, and this is how we will live, with you and me.
Guitar solo. Matchbox 20 bridge is coming up. Ooh.
Starting down me, it's never enough till I feel all your pieces. Starting down me, keep bringing me on till I'm completely broken.
Instrumental they've ever written. God, they're just phenomenal musicians.
So complicated. Just touch me and then, or just touch me again. Can you help me? I'm bent. I'm so scared that I'll never get put back together. Keep breaking me in, and this is how we will end, with you and me landing without understanding. Here I go there again. Can you help me? I'm bent. I'm so scared that I'll never.
You can just feel it building. It's that groove. All right, that was Matchbox 20 Bent. These guys are definitely, yeah, they're one of my favorite bands of all time for sure. And like, I still haven't even listened to nearly all of their stuff, but like, their instrumental work, while like it's never, again, I'm a metalhead, right? Like I'm a hard rock metal guy, so I'm used to dueling guitar solos, really instrumentally dense music. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on. And while Matchbox 20 on one hand doesn't do anything as technical as the metal I'm used to, they're such good musicians. Like this song, you know, find me a song that evolves as much as this song. You know what I mean? Just like this song is constantly moving, and the drum, again, the drum pattern, while I guess it's not that it's simple, it's that it's not like fast or anything, but it's super dynamic. I love all the little changes. I love the shimmering in the background. I love the acoustic guitar, the lead guitar, like the intro kind of lead guitar riff. You know what I mean? And then the bridge was phenomenal, which Matchbox 20 always has impeccable, like, you know, again, Savage Garden, Matchbox 20, impeccable attention to detail with song structures. Like all of their songs always evolve, which is why I love this band so much, is that like, again, you're always going to get some emotional, cathartic, passionate, interesting bridge. You know what I mean? You're going to have again, like Rob, his voice is just exquisite. You're going to have so much feeling in the chorus, and just, again, his verses always too. Like he, you know, he's an artist that I don't think he'll ever be able to do multi-track performances. And what I mean by that is so much of the par for the course nowadays with music is like, you literally, when you're tracking vocals for a song, you do like one line at a time. You do a line, take a break. Do another line, take a break. Do another line, take a break. Do the chorus, take a break. Like, you know, you're always perfecting chunks of a song. And now I could be totally wrong. Maybe Rob does this, but the reason why I don't think he does is Rob, and Michael Jackson has this too, as we talked about with some of our Michael Jackson reactions, that Rob has such a level of momentum throughout an entire song that it's like he's always just like, even if the song is not building tension, Rob is. Like, it's a natural thing. He's like, it's like he knows instinctively in his heart. He's like, a song is a story, and a story changes, and a story doesn't stay the same. So if I'm writing a song and I'm writing a vocal pattern, why would I have the vocal pattern stay stagnant? Which is the issue, is that most music nowadays, and most music, period, is like, there's a feeling of stagnation to the energy of a song. It's like it doesn't really go anywhere. It's like you're supposedly telling this real evolving story, but musically it's stagnant. It's verse, chorus, same chorus, bridge where you just fade everything out. You sing the chorus in the same way you did before, and then you do your last chorus, which is the same, maybe just double track it. You don't sing it any differently. You don't have any more tension. You don't have any more ad-libs. You literally just double track the same fucking chorus, and then you call it a day and you say, that's a song. It's like, again, this is what I love about great artists such as Rob and Matchbox 20, is that they're just like, why would we do that? You know what I mean? That's not art. It's not music. Like that is a what's it when you're making cars, like a conveyor belts or something? You guys know what I'm talking about, when you're in an assembly line. That's it. So much music nowadays is like, it's on an assembly line. It's like, verse, plug in the chorus here, put your verse here, bridge. All right, we're going to do bridge 1B. Yeah, let's go in our book. A bridge 1B is when you fade everything out, and you like it feels so calculated, which I don't like. And so I love how Matchbox 20, they still might have like collections of verse riffs and chorus riffs and bridges, but they do it in such a way that like when they put the pieces together, they play it and they track it in a way that it feels like it's one cohesive song that's always building and evolving. That's what Matchbox 20 songs feel like when you listen to them. They feel like they're a journey. They're an evolving song, where what I love about Matchbox 20, amongst the other 50 things I always say, is that the verse feels like it's evolving into the pre-chorus and into the chorus and then evolving back into the verse, rather than a verse that is separate from a chorus, that's separate, like, and it's just like these things that don't really they don't seem to go together. They're like, how did we get this chorus from that verse? Doesn't really make any sense. So again, Matchbox 20 songs always have a feeling of momentum where it's always like, that makes sense. Or it's not even you think that makes sense. You feel it in your heart. You get drawn into the song. This is what I always find with Matchbox 20, is that I get drawn into their songs more than most artists, because I get drawn into emotionally the song, partially because Rob is so emotive as a vocalist, but also because the song is, again, evolving and building a momentum. That you're not like compartmentalizing a song as you're listening to it, like, oh, we're in the chorus now. Oh, we're in the verse now. A lot of songs, you're like in it and you're out, and you're in it and you're out. And there's almost this feeling of, I think this is actually subconscious. I think a lot of the time we can feel the separation between a verse and a chorus, and we can feel that these are puzzle pieces that people have just kind of put together, where it's in that transition that it's not an organic transition. Good artists, again, great Savage Garden songs, great Matchbox 20 songs. Tons of artists that do this amazing. Tori Amos, Kate Bush, Peter Gabriel, Sting. There's a lot of amazing artists. But for the sake of the argument, we're talking kind of like 90s alternative here and 2000s alternative. Again, it's that Matchbox 20 write organic songs. That's actually kind of what I'd call it. I say like they're organic songs. It's a song rather than a collection of parts. Like that's actually probably the best way to put it in some sense. But it's so effective. And I just love all the touches, and they'll just add things when they want to because it feels right. Like there's no part in this song where I felt like there was a producer in the room going, oh yeah, Rob, you kind of have to do this. Or, to the guitarist, yeah, you should do this. You should clean this up a bit. Like it feels just so organic and natural. And again, if any of the things I said probably didn't happened, again, they're a masterful band, and they find a way to make the non-organic sound organic. And that's just a talent that Matchbox 20 always has. They're just one of the best bands. They're one of the best alternative, I'll just call them a rock band. They're one of the best rock bands that has ever existed, in my opinion. I just think even if you don't like the vocal tone, you don't like the stuff, like you have to give them props. You have to objectively be like, they write interesting music. Period. Like they write interesting music from a songwriting perspective. Period. You can't fault them. You just can't. It's impossible. But anyway, let's jump in the lyrics of this one now. All right, and we're back with Matchbox 20 Bent. One thing I did want to say about this one is actually, initially, the chorus didn't blow me away. The chorus wasn't my favorite Matchbox 20 chorus, but again, it started to grow on me halfway through, especially when the bridge hit. And again, this is a testament to Rob. He can sell you on something. Like, he can sell you on something you're not immediately vibing with all the time. Like, I would say I was vibing with the chorus, but the melody itself didn't blow me away like the melody of Push on First Listen, 3 a.m., A Real World, Long Day. Like, some of the other ones immediately clicked with me more. This one, at the beginning, I was like, I like this, but I don't love it. Like, it hadn't crossed in that love. But then by the end of it, by the time he was repeating it over and over and over, that bridge was building, and I was like, okay, this is good. Like, everything finally fell into place of Rob's vision for the melody and the chorus and the vibe of this song. Like, this is one that, yeah, it steadily grew on me as it went on. I was always impressed by the instrumental. And again, I'm always impressed by Rob's vocal performance, even if the melody doesn't actually hit me on first listen. But yeah, halfway, 3/4 through the song, everything clicked. I was like, oh, this is good. I like the way it builds. But yeah, let's jump in this one, because Rob always writes phenomenal lyrics. Just very self-reflective. And if I fall along the way, pick me up and dust me off. And if I get too tired to make it, be my breath so I can walk. And if I need some other love, then give me more than I can stand. And when my smile gets old and faded, wait around, I'll smile again. Shouldn't be so complicated, just hold me and then, oh, just hold me again. Also, Rob's a phenomenal actor. Phenomenal actor. And again, it's probably because he's just playing himself and he's a very emotive person. And so again, like just watching him get in that fight with the person on the street, which I think it was one of the members of the band, the drummer? Was that the drummer or the bass guitar? I think it was someone in the band. But just seeing Rob's anger and his intensity, the smoldering as he was singing the words, I'm like, God, this is good. Everything comes together just as a whole package so well. But yeah, you know, I get the vibe from him that he's a very emotional, sensitive dude who, one of the ways he deals with sensitivity is through anger, because it wasn't a very safe environment to be truly sensitive. So he had to like kind of wall off his sensitivity with anger as a way to not get hurt too much. That's what I get from him, but really deep down, he just hold me. Like, just hold me again. Like, it's just interesting. Like, when you look, like, this is interesting too. When you're watching the video, would you be guessing that that man would be asking someone to hold him? You wouldn't. When you look at someone like that, and that's a testament to the fact that there's so much more in all of us than the facade and the mask we wear to the world. Because his anger is his mask, is his facade. His anger is the thing of like, I don't want anyone to know just how sensitive I am. You know what I mean? Because I'm really sensitive, I'm really emotional, things hurt me very deeply. And I can't let anyone know that because then they'll target that. Like, so it's easier if I weaponize this, if I get angry and I push people away before they can get close to hurt me. Or if someone is capable of hurting me, yeah, I just want to preemptively punch them in the face first, you know, sucker punch. Can you help me? I'm bent. I'm so scared that I'll never get put back together. Keep breaking me in and this is how we'll end, with you and me bent. I've never heard anyone use the word bent like that. Again, leave it to Rob to just kind of articulate things very uniquely. Yeah, again, he just like Darren Hayes of Savage Garden. Both of these people are just some of the most self-reflective, questioning, and sometimes broken artists that we've had, and broken in a very beautiful way because they're broken, but they admit all of it. Most people are broken. Most people are broken, but they won't admit it and they won't write it down and they won't share that with the world. But it's beautiful when you get someone who's just as broken as all of us, who is just courageous, and not even courageous. I don't even think it's an issue of courage. I think that these are people that they can't not do this. Like, this is just who they are. Like, Rob is like, if you told him you can't write about this stuff, you'd be like, you're asking me to like die. Like, this is how I feel. You know, again, this is how I feel. Again, like, you'd be like, oh, Anton, you're very courageous because you're so open. And it's like, yes, there is a certain level of courage to that. There's a certain level of courage and vulnerability. At the same time, though, it's the only way I know how to be. It's the only way I know how to feel something. Because if I don't do this, I get disconnected from myself and humanity. It's like me being vulnerable and me opening up is when I feel the most. It's when I feel life. It's when I embrace life. It's when I embrace human beings, human nature, and all of like human existence. It's like when I'm vulnerable. And I think that's why I connect so deeply with Darren Hayes and Rob Thomas so much. It's because they're the same way. They're like, this is how I feel. This is what I do. This is, if I'm not doing this, I don't really know who I am or what I'm supposed to do. Because this is, like, in some sense, if you want to talk about reincarnation, life paths, like, can you think of Rob Thomas doing anything other than being a musician? Like, if he was lost in a 9-to-5 job and wasn't able to make music, the world has lost something. The world lost something that it's never going to get again. There will be obviously artists like Rob Thomas, but I don't know if there'll ever be another Rob Thomas, like someone who's just so Rob. Because Rob is a world within himself. He's just so, there's so much to him. And I love it. But yeah. and keep breaking me in, and this is how we'll end, with you and me bent. Yeah, bent, broke, like, it's interesting he doesn't use the word broken. So many artists use the word broken. He's talking being bent. What I gather from that is he's saying that when you're broken, it's like you lose your ability to cope with the world. You're broken. When you're bent, you still cope with the world. You still are a citizen of the world. You still are a normal human being, but you're changed. You know, something has bent you, it's changed your nature, it has hurt you, it has caused a trauma, it's caused a wound that will not heal, and now I have to live with being bent. In some sense, when you're broken, it's like game over, I'm done, I'm broken, I've given up. It's like being bent, there's some element of like, I have to live with being bent. I still have to interact with the world, but as someone who is bent, as someone who is, you know, twisted against his will, you know, twisted and bent by the pain of my experiences. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, again, it's an interesting piece of imagery. And if I couldn't sleep, could you sleep? Could you paint me better off? And could you sympathize with my needs? I know you think I need a lot. I started out clean, but I'm jaded. Just phoning it in. Oh, just breaking the skin. Again, I relate so much with this because, you know, again, sensitive people usually start out very pure. Like I can even tell when I was a kid, I started off very pure, very sensitive, very emotional, and my dad broke me, the world broke me, and then I became very jaded. And I do my best to not be jaded. I do my best to be open-hearted with those that deserve my open heart. And then I close myself off to those that I don't want to interact with. So I'm very much of a two-worlds. I'm either broken open or closed. There's not really, like, a lot of people will like talk to me, like when I'm at the gym or something. It's like I'm kind of, if I don't like, if I'm in a new environment, like I'm just kind of like stone-faced, you know what I mean? Like resting bitch face, right? But then when people get to know me, I'm all laughter and smiles and all that kind of stuff, as a lot of you guys would know. But there is kind of like two modes. Like I'm very like, because I know how sensitive I am, I have to guard that, because I see sensitivity like having a semi-permeable membrane, like a cell. Like when you're sensitive, things get in. It's the whole point of sensitivity. You're a conduit for existence. You're a conduit for life. You're a conduit for energy. You're a conduit for the good and the bad, the up and the down, the darkness and the light. It's like being sensitive. I can get so excited and amped and passionate that it can, like when I'm happy, I can light up a fucking room. Like everybody is like, whoa, what's going on? I feel like people have told me that. They're like, when you're up, like God, like you're infectious to be around. You're a magnet. But same thing happens on the negative. When I'm down, I can implode a room. Like my energy, people are just like, whoa. Like everyone like will just be like, whoa. Like, what's going on, dude? Like we can feel it. Now I'm just like, wait, you can feel this? And they're like, yeah, dude. Like it's, wow. Like it's just like my energy, my aura is so powerful for both, again, the positive and the negative. Again, it's why I have to take care of myself, because I can bring the world up and I can bring the world down. Most people, if people are really secure in their energy, I won't be able to bring them up. Or again, they're always open to being brought up, but I can't bring them down. And that's why it's good to have friends who are strong, because you don't have to feel so guilty about bringing people down, because I've very much felt that. I felt like I wasn't even entitled to my pain and my anger or frustration, because I knew how powerful my energy was. And I knew that if I was to feel frustration or pain, I would bring everyone, I would drown people. And so what I learned to do, and I think a lot of people like me or Rob, how we learn to deal with negative emotion is we disconnect from people around us. And people are like, oh, why do you disconnect? It's like, because when I go through shit, I really go through shit, and I don't want to bring you down. And because I can bring people down, right? Not everybody. Again, people that have worked their shit out, I don't bring them down, but most people haven't worked their shit out, right? So most people I can just drown people with my pain, whatever I'm going through, right? And so what a lot of people like us, we just end up learning, okay, when you're going through a rough time, you disconnect. And then when you're in a good place, you hang out with people, you talk. And I'm learning, you know, with a lot of good friends that like, hey man, like you're allowed to still be around me and interact with me when you're going through tough times. Like I've dealt with my shit. I can maintain my happiness when you're in your pain. Again, it's rare. Most people can't. Most people can't. Most people's happiness is dependent on everybody around them being happy, which is they've outsourced their ability to self-regulate to the world. And that's dangerous. And I used to do the same thing. I'm like, I'm happy when everybody else is happy. If other people are unhappy, I'm unhappy because I just channel other people's energy. And I've learned how to maintain my own sense of equilibrium at all times to the best of my ability. Like there's still times I go through rough times, but for the most part, I'm getting so much better at just, you know, finding a way to process things, having my own process, you know what I mean? And not venting to people. You know, venting is okay. Just make sure the other person knows you're venting. Because if they don't know you're venting and they're actually trying to help you, because the process of venting occurs before you're open to a shift. Venting is essentially you're toxic with all of this negative emotion and you just need to let go of it so you can get to that empty cauldron where you can go, okay, I can change something now. But most people, they don't realize that you have to vent before you can change. Not all the time. This is for most people. Most people have to vent before they can change. Because if they're in the middle of venting, you try to fix them or help them or support them, they get angry and they go, you're not listening to me or whatever. Really, the venting process is more of an emotional listening process. And you have to make sure that like you can just allow the vent to flow through you, which takes a lot of time. Or don't be around people that are just venting. Let them vent. Because again, I've learned how to have my own venting process that doesn't involve other people. I vent outside. Like I'll go for a walk and I'll just speak out loud. I'll just talk to myself. I'll literally just go through a process. And that helps me a lot because externalizing your thoughts is part of the venting process. That's super important. It's not always to do with venting to somebody else. It's actually because your head's a cyclone. And what you have to do is you have to take the cyclone and define it. And again, that's what words do because you can't say two different words at the same time. That's what people don't realize about language is an inherently linear process. So you take the swirling chaos and you linearize it and you condense it into one thing at a time. Speaking forces you to slow your thoughts down. That's why people like to vent, right? And so what I do is I just vent to myself. I use myself as a therapist because again, I have a background in counseling and everything, right? So I'm like, okay, I know how this process works. It's about the linearization and the processing of thoughts. Part of it. There's a lot of different ways to clear energy, but that's one of it. And so I just talk to myself out loud. I'll just go for an hour and a half walk and just talk and just process everything. And then sometimes usually it takes me no more than an hour and a half. Like that's usually the longest. I can usually get through pretty intense emotional states relatively quick because I've worked on it so much. Sometimes though, if it's brutal, it'll take me a day. Like, you know, sometimes. Like that's like the worst of the worst if I'm just a mess. But it just seems like, you know, Rob kind of goes through a similar process. Start bending me. It's never enough till I feel all your pieces. Start bending me. Keep bending me until I'm completely broken in. Shouldn't be so complicated. Just touch me and then, oh, just touch me again. Yeah, my love languages are verbal, words of affirmation and physical. So it seems like Rob is too. Touch me. It seems like touch is important. Because like I've talked to people, some people, touch is not important. Like I've tried hugging people and they like bristle. Like it's uncomfortable. And I'm like, whoa, like I'm a hugger. So I'm like, dude, you don't like being hugged? And they're like, no, I hate being hugged. And I'm just like, okay, fair enough, man. That's like two completely different styles of love. You know what I mean? So I'm guessing, yeah. Rob is the same. Wait a minute. Okay, so he's definitely physical. Hold me, touch me. Yeah, he needs to be embraced. He probably also has mother wounds. Challenges with his mom. Because a lot of the time, not always, like this is not always the case, but a lot of the time, if you weren't nurtured by your mother, you will seek that in your relationships. I do. You know, I'll be completely honest. I seek that in my relationships. More in the past, I don't seek it as much. I don't require it to the same degree I used to. I still love it. Like, again, I'm a touchy-feely guy, so I love physical touch and the physicality of love and being in a relationship. But like before, it was like, I needed it to feel safe. I needed it to feel connected. Now I can be connected by myself, and I can, again, because I'm more open-hearted, I can get more of a connection just energetically, that I don't need the other things as much. They're bonuses. And it's still, nothing is better for me than just like hugging, snuggling, all that kind of cuddling. I love that shit. Again, touchy-feely guy, same with Rob. So again, when I have Rob on the podcast, we'll talk about our love languages. But anyway, so this was Matchbox 20 Bent. Overall, absolutely brilliant song, par usual for Matchbox 20. One of the best bands in the world, but one of the best rock bands, hands down, for me at least. And what are your thoughts on this one? Let me know down below. And also, what are your top 3 favorite Matchbox 20 songs? And what's your favorite Matchbox 20 album? Let me know down below. And we've done tons of Matchbox 20. We've done a full album reaction, so if you want to check that out, join everybody in our Patreon family, link in the description below. And we've just done a lot of Matchbox 20. So if you want to go on the Matchbox 20 journey with me, click right here, and I'll see you in the next one.